Hey everybody, Brandon here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be continuing our discussion of the London system. Ooh, fun. So we're playing against c6 move 1. Because of that, I don't hate bishop to f4 on this move. I think their idea of c6 is to try to transpose into something like a Caro-Kann. We're not having any of it. So after d5, I want to play c3. And the idea is if they play queen b6, I want to meet it with queen to b3. One of the drawbacks to playing bishop to f4 early is the idea of c5 and queen b6. Although c6 move 1 does kind of ruin that possibility. Alright, so bishop to g4. And now I think this move queen b3 might be nice to play. This gets us out of the pin, so we're ready to play moves like e3. And we just continue our development. So this actually hangs a pawn as well. And I'm not sure it's a pawn they want to lose. Queen takes b7, knight to d7. We take on c6 as well. That looks quite scrumptious. I don't think we've done anything wrong there. We're just going to go for it. If it's two pawns, that's quite a bit. After queen takes c6 here. Good. And if rook c8, then we can just go queen to a4 and kind of scurry back. We're not in any immediate rush. We're also threatening this a7 pawn, which might ask them to try and defend it. Queen b6 looks like the most logical option. Also creates a threat on b2, which I would like to parry with the move queen to b3. Offering a queen trade would be very nice. When you're up two pawns and you trade queens and their initiative goes away, that's something you're very thankful for. It's like Thanksgiving. I'm not really interested in grabbing this pawn. I think that's a little too greedy. We won two pawns out of the opening. I think that is a success, and we can treat it as such. Bishop to b5. If they castle, we take on d7, but they can take with the knight. So I'm just going to keep developing my pieces. There's no reason to worry too much. Well, actually, there is a reason to worry too much. My kingside is completely undeveloped, and although I'm up two pawns, I got to be very careful. That looks like a mistake. So I feel a little bad about that. That's unfortunate. Never feels good to make those mouse slips. I'm just going to go queen to c2. So generally you don't want to align your queen with a rook. But the only way they could take advantage of it is either knight b4 or knight d4. But luckily d4 is very well defended, and knight b4 is very far away. So actually both are very far away. And that's why I'm not really too concerned about any of those types of moves. Knight to f3, and we're ready to castle. And the second we castle and our king is safe, then we can try to actually start pushing our pawns a little bit. Moves like b3 and c4. And get our queenside majority rolling. There's a 4 versus 2 on this side of the board. Which, well, because it's a 4 versus 4 on the other side, it does mean we are winning. Because, well, we can create pass pawns. That's one of many ways and reasons we're winning. I don't hate knight to e5. I also don't hate taking. I'll play knight to e5. attack the queen. I'm just trying to castle, and I think that this move might help me in that endeavor. Because after takes and bishop takes here, I might be threatening to weaken their kingside. Or maybe not. But I think we are quite happy with the result of this position. Not quite sure what they do. Knight to e4 does look like it wins a pawn. And I think we should take it. Like, it's not a bad pawn to take, but I also want to be principled and not go too overboard. It's just, it's quite a bit of material, right? 3 pawns is a lot, despite our king not being castled. And there's not an immediate attack against the king. The structure is extremely solid in preventing kingside attacks. Alright, so they go knight c4. I'll just retreat to g3. If they ever go rook to b8, I can just go b3. If knight to d6, or that, I just plan on moving back to d3 here. Doesn't look like there's many moves to worry about. Again, always got to be aware of this alignment. It can be a good thing for them. So just making sure that we are okay is very important. And I think we can take, right? If we take on c4, then we want to take on e5 right after. And although it's opposite color bishops, in this position, it really doesn't matter. The problem is, even though it's opposite color bishops, we have way too much material for it. So after bishop takes on e5 here, their king is weak. We have 4 extra pawns, and that's just too much material. Even if we traded down into an opposite color bishop ending, this would still be completely winning. I would love to castle though, right? The point of these openings is to be principled. But of course, we do want to refute what our opponents are doing as well. We don't just want to play moves for the sake of playing moves. We play openings like the London system because it gives us an easy mode of development. I might have queen b3, but I'm just going to castle instead. It gives us an easy mode of development, but we shouldn't mistake that for not caring about when they are playing kind of weird in the opening. We should still try to take full advantage of it. And so being mindful of that and still caring about what they play and not falling into the trap that some system players do, which is, oh, I'm just going to play these moves over and over and I can pretty much pre-move them without thinking, no matter what. That's where you're going to start running into problems. So I will play bishop to f4 here. I'm hoping to get d5. I can't play it quite yet because if I play d5, queen takes d5 actually works. Pawn takes and then rook takes. They get some activity and win a pawn from it. No bueno. Instead, I would rather play f3. e3 is sufficiently defended. I can also play queen to d2 followed by d5. These pawns are looking very scary. Okay. And this is actually a perfect excuse to play the move queen to d2, targeting this a5 pawn. If they end up pushing it, that's okay. I'll play d5. And, well, the plan wasn't stopped. so I will continue along with it. So here, I don't think I need to do anything regarding this tension. I can just start pushing my central pawns, and that's what I intend to do. It's covering a lot of space. It's very difficult to deal with, and I think that should actually win me the game. So takes. They might end up taking on a1 here. Generally, at the lower levels, you'll see whenever someone can make an equal exchange, they just will, without really thinking too much about it. We could play c6, rook takes c6, pawn takes c6, queen takes d2. But why would we do that? Instead, b4 makes a lot more sense. Just defending everything. And then we can go queen d4 and then look at c6, right? Slow, improving moves. One of the biggest mistakes at the lower levels is actually something that I heard from the Chess Fuels podcast. Oh, we can take that. But I don't think we will, funnily enough. I think we'll play c6, trying to exploit the fact that these are on light squares, and we are controlling the dark squares, which means we're able to push, even playing moves like d7. But they missed. That bishop takes d6 was possible here. But something I heard was them talking about patience, and how at lower rating ranges, you're going to see a lot of times where your opponent is going to be impatient and feel like they have to do something, whether it's something aesthetic, like moving a piece up the board like really far, or something like attacking a piece or forcing some trades. But in reality, those moves might not be so great for you. Sometimes being patient and not really changing the characteristics of a position is actually the best way to play it. Just maintaining your advantages is a very hard thing to do, because when you have the advantage, you feel like you just got to crush them, right? You see all these tactics of, oh, you know, here's a mate, here's a checkmate puzzle, here's like a puzzle winning a piece. Sometimes it's just a normal position, right? Tactics only make up a certain amount of the game. Not every move is a tactic. And when you come to realize that, I think there's a huge appreciation for the entirety of chess. And that's where you start to play much more interesting chess. At least that's when I felt like I was playing much more interesting chess. When I went from not hanging my pieces and making sure that my stuff was generally protected, and I had to deal with positions where neither side's just going to blunder for nothing. So you have to find ways to put pressure on them. And a way to put pressure is gaining space slowly, right? Making small improving moves. Moves like h3 could have been played. If we go all the way back and just look at slow improving moves here, all I did was I just started slowly advancing, right? I wasn't just trying to throw one pawn down the board. I was trying to slowly just improve my pieces. The queen felt better on d2 here. Oh. And played c5, b4, c6, and of course we end up taking the queen at the end there. But even though this one did have a lot of capture, and move away, and all those one-dimensional threats, when we get to the later games, when we're playing against, I'd say, players above around 1200, they're going to stop hanging pieces and pawns as much. And we're going to have to find other ways to create pressure and induce mistakes from them. And the way we can do that is by taking advantage of the way they develop. If they create a weakness like a pawn or a certain square, if they waste time by offering trades and initiating trades themselves, where we can just get a lot of development from it. There's a lot of ways that we can improve a position. And patience is a virtue, as some say. So, thank you all for watching this episode of the London System. Hope it was interesting, inspiring. I don't know what other synonyms there are. I don't have any. I'm illiterate. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.